So the NBA is certainly not going to be happy with the outcome of tonight's NBA Cup game. Look, if you were a Milwaukee Bucks fan, congrats. You ended up winning the game 97-81. We will get into the monster performance by Giannis in just a little bit, but I have to say, tonight's game had about as much excitement as a 20-year-old Hallmark movie if I was asked by my wife to actually go sit in a theater to watch it. I am just saying, not a lot of excitement down the stretch in this one. I think the only real question was whether or not the Bucks were actually going to hold the Oklahoma City Thunder to under 80 points in tonight's game. 97-81, as I mentioned, was the final. I will give you my instant reaction on the monster performance by, of course, Giannis, as well as Damian Lillard. I've got all of that and a whole lot more coming up on tonight's edition of the NBA Rundown. All right, new to the channel, please go ahead and subscribe, and of course, like this video. Also, check out our audio version of the pod on Apple and Spotify.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Right, so not too much to really break down tonight about the NBA Cup finale. As I mentioned, it was a Giannis monster night. In fact, he ended up with a triple-double, a late assist in the game. Put him over the top. His stat line reads 26 points, 18 rebounds, and 10 assists in the game. And if you watch the game, it was as clear as water being wet that the best player on the court was, of course, Giannis. Now, the Oklahoma City Thunder, who have been averaging just under 116 points a game, were actually held to just 81. And if you were to take a look at the statistics for this particular game, the first place and probably the last place you should actually look is actually looking at the three-point percentages. Now, the Thunder actually ended up shooting 15.6 from the three-point arc. 5 for 32. If you want to understand why the Thunder actually lost tonight, that was one of the key reasons. On the other side of the court, the Bucks actually went 17 for 41 and a respectable 41.5% from the three-point arc. Now, a lot of people, including myself, at the start of the season were definitely giving the Milwaukee Bucks a hard time, especially with how they actually started out of the gate. Like, I still can't believe Doc Rivers actually accepted the phone call from Milwaukee last year to actually get back into coaching when he had that cushy, play as much golf as you want television gig. At the end of the day, this Milwaukee Bucks team has certainly improved significantly over the last 15 games. Now, they are at this point 14-11. Remember, tonight's game doesn't count in the actual standings. I don't know how many times we have to hear that. That being said, 14-11 and currently in 5th spot in the Eastern Conference. Now, above them in 4th spot is the Orlando Magic, and the Magic have actually played to this point 3 more regular season games, which they've won. So when we look at this overall Milwaukee Bucks team, and if we got into the entire stats line for tonight's NBA Cup victory, of course, Damian Lillard showed up, 23 points, 5 assists, and 4 rebounds in the game. A really nice performance by both Bobby Portis Jr. and, of course, Brook Lopez. Lopez had 13. Portis Jr. had 8 rebounds and certainly brought some energy in the 19 minutes of playing time he was actually allotted tonight. Outside of that, though, when you actually really sort of take a look at this Milwaukee Bucks team, I mean, like, did any of you out there think that Taurean Prince was going to put up 20 tonight? Did any of you think that AJ Green was going to put up 20 tonight? This Bucks team is just good enough to be a 4th, maybe a 5th seed in the Eastern Conference. But do they have enough depth to do more damage in the actual NBA playoffs? I think that's a discussion for a different day. We know Chris Middleton is back, but he was out tonight due to some sort of illness, so didn't actually play in the game. And I think at this point, the Bucks have actually gotten pretty good at playing a pretty short roster. They're not doing what the Golden State Warriors did at the beginning of the season, where if you're on the bench, you'll have a chance to play. I think at the end of the day, this was a trophy that Giannis absolutely wanted to win. I'm not saying that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and the rest of the players on the Oklahoma City Thunder didn't want it just as bad. But if you really sat down and watched tonight's game, it was clear from the jump that Giannis was going to do everything that he could possibly do to help his team actually secure the actual NBA Cup. All right, so those are my thoughts on tonight's NBA Cup. Also some thoughts on where do the Bucks go from here. Certainly, I think they need some more firepower to really be a true threat in the Eastern Conference this year. But I mean, Giannis is just, isn't he just seriously, like when we talk about the best players in the NBA, sometimes we forget to bring up Giannis. And every time I watch one of his games, while the rest of the team sort of bores the hell out of me, I do have to say Giannis is certainly nowhere near skiing down the backside of career mountain like Damian Lillard has begun. All right, drop in your thoughts and comments. Thanks so much for tuning in to tonight's instant reaction to the monster performance by Giannis as the Milwaukee Bucks and Doc Rivers, congrats Doc, end up winning the second cup, the Emirates Cup this year. 97-81 was the final. All right, for the NBA rundown, I'm Dave DeBaugh, wishing you all a tremendous rest of your sports viewing day.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.